Do you know why some people seem to be at the right place at the right time, while others, just as talented, never get their breakthrough? And what do you think? Is success purely the result of hard work and intelligence, or is there something more at play? Well, the answer lies in two powerful yet often overlooked forces: luck and risk. They're like siblings, inseparably linked, shaping every outcome in life in ways we often fail to see. So let's get into the video to see how luck and risk invisibly play a part in leading your path to success. Let's get started. The role of luck and risk in success. NYU professor Scott Galloway once made a powerful statement that helps us understand success more deeply. Nothing is as good or bad as it seems. This idea is especially true when we look at some of the most successful people in history. Take Bill Gates, for example. Today we know him as the co-founder of Microsoft, one of the richest people in the world, and a major philanthropist. His success story is often told as one of brilliance, vision, and a persistent work ethic. But there's another side to his journey, one that reveals the invisible forces of luck and risk. Gates' story is a perfect example of how two equally smart and hardworking people can end up on completely different paths. He was in the right place at the right time, and with the right opportunities, and that made all the difference. But what if things had been just a little different? What if he had never attended the one school that had a computer? What if his life had taken a tragic turn, much like his friend Kent Evans? The truth is, success is never just about effort. Luck and risk are always at play, shaping our lives in ways we don't always see. Gates' journey and the heartbreaking fate of his childhood friend prove that sometimes success isn't just about what you do. It's also about where you are, when you are, and the uncontrollable forces that shape your destiny. So let's take a closer look at how luck and risk worked in Gates' favor and against his best friend, showing us that every success story has more to it than meets the eye. The unbelievable story of Lakeside School. Bill Gates was incredibly lucky to attend one of the only high schools in the world that had a computer in the 1960s. Now today, computers are everywhere, in our homes, in our pockets, and even on our wrists. But back then, computers were massive, expensive machines that only a handful of companies and universities could afford. The fact that a high school had one was almost unheard of. Lakeside School, though, a small private school just outside Seattle, somehow managed to get one. And the way it happened is a story worth telling. Bill Dougal, a former World War II Navy pilot who later became a high school math and science teacher, had a vision. He believed that education shouldn't just be about textbooks and lectures. It needed to also give students real-world experience. He also saw that computers were going to change the world, even though most people at the time had no idea how. He was determined to give his students a head start. In 1969, Dougal made an unusual request. He asked the Lakeside School Mothers Club, a group of parents who raised money for school programs, to use the profits from their annual rummage sale to lease a computer. The sale brought in about $3,000, and instead of spending it on new books or classroom supplies, the school used it to rent a teletype Model 30, a machine connected to the General Electric mainframe. This decision was groundbreaking. Now, the idea of time-sharing in computing had only just been invented in 1965. Even major universities had limited access to computers, yet somehow this small high school had one. When the machine arrived, one student became absolutely obsessed with it. And who was he? That's right, a 13-year-old Bill Gates. From the moment he laid eyes on the machine, he was hooked. He spent hours in the computer lab, fascinated by the power of programming. While other kids were out playing sports or watching TV, Gates was in there writing code, running programs, and pushing the limits of what the computer could do. A 1-in-a-million opportunity. It's hard to fully grasp just how rare of an opportunity this was. To help put it into perspective, let's look at the numbers. In 1968, there were roughly 303 million high school-age people in the world. Out of those, about 18 million lived in the United States. Narrowing it down further, about 270,000 were in Washington state, and a little over 100,000 lived in the Seattle area. However, only about 300 students attended Lakeside School. That means that only a tiny fraction of a percent of all the students in the world had access to a computer, and Gates just happened to be one of them. Even he recognizes how extraordinary this was. Speaking to Lakeside's graduating class in 2005, he said, "If there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft." This wasn't just about having talent or ambition. Gates was brilliant and hardworking, but without that 1 in a million chance, his story might have been completely different. He could have been just another smart kid with no access to computers, no chance to develop his skills, and no pathway to starting Microsoft. His journey proves something very important. Success isn't just about intelligence or effort. It's also about the hidden forces of luck and opportunity that shape our lives in ways we don't always realize. The formation of a tech giant. Gates wasn't just lucky though, he was also exceptionally smart and driven. By the time he was in 8th grade, he had met Paul Allen, another student at Lakeside who shared his passion for computers. Unlike a normal school subject, computing at Lakeside was an independent study program. Gates and Allen were free to experiment, tinker, and push the boundaries of what they could do with the machine. They spent hours after school, late at night, and on weekends developing their skills. One day, during one of their countless late-night coding sessions, Gates showed Allen a copy of Fortune magazine. He asked, "What do you think it's like to run a Fortune 500 company?" Allen had no idea, but Gates, always dreaming bigger, responded, "Maybe we'll have our own computer company someday." That dream, fueled by talent and an extraordinary opportunity, would eventually lead to Microsoft, a company now worth over $1 trillion. The other side of the coin, the tragic story of Kent Evans. While the world knows Bill Gates and Paul Allen as the masterminds behind Microsoft, there was once a third member of their group at Lakeside School, being Kent Evans. His story is a powerful reminder that success is not just about talent and opportunity, it's also about luck's twin, risk, which can change everything in an instant. Kent Evans was not just another bright student at Lakeside. According to Gates himself, he was the smartest in their class. More than that, he was Gates' best friend and closest collaborator. The two spent countless hours on the phone, talking about their future, dreaming about the incredible things they would do. In the documentary Inside Bill's Brain, Gates revealed something touching. "I still know Kent's phone number, 525-7851. Even decades later, that number remained etched into his memory, a sign of just how deeply their friendship shaped his early years. Much like Gates and Allen, Evans had a natural gift for computers. The three of them were inseparable, spending long hours in the computer lab, learning to program and solve problems. One of their biggest accomplishments in high school was creating a scheduling program for Lakeside. The school struggled every year to manually arrange student class schedules, making sure everyone got the right courses without conflicts. It was a complicated and time-consuming process, and Gates and Evans were given the challenge to fix it with a computer program. And they did. Their system worked, and it was an early sign of their ability to use technology to solve real-world problems. But Evans wasn't just a tech genius. Unlike Paul Allen, who was more focused on engineering, Evans shared Gates' ambition for leadership and business. He was always thinking about the bigger picture. Gates recalls that Evans carried around a large, lawyer-like briefcase, always filled with notes, plans, and ideas for the future. The two of them weren't just thinking about writing code. They were imagining themselves as future CEOs, running companies, changing the world. They even talked about becoming generals or ambassadors. Their dreams had no limits. Then, tragedy struck. During a scouting trip while climbing a mountain, Evans lost his footing and fell to his death. Just like that, his life, full of talent, dreams, and potential, was cut short. Gates was devastated. They had spent years imagining their future together, but in a single moment, everything had changed. Evans never got the chance to build a company, to bring his ideas to life, or to see how far his intelligence could take him. Luck versus risk, two sides of the same coin. Gates and Evans were equals in so many ways. They were both brilliant. They both had access to the same incredible opportunities. They both worked hard, dreamed big, and pushed each other to be better. But while Gates was lucky, Evans was not. Gates happened to attend a school with a computer, something almost no other high school student in the world had. That was luck, but just as Gates was given an extraordinary opportunity, Evans experienced an extraordinary tragedy. The same unpredictable force that positively shaped Gates' future took Evans' future away forever. This is the part of success that people often forget. We love to focus on talent, hard work, and intelligence, all of which are important. But we sometimes overlook the invisible forces of luck and risk, forces that can decide who makes it and who doesn't. Gates himself said that if there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft. But what if Evans had never gone on that scouting trip? Would the world know his name today? Would he have been a co-founder of a tech empire? These are questions we can never answer. What we do know is that luck and risk are always present, shaping lives in ways that we don't always see. The unpredictable nature of success. Well, if we step back, we can see that luck and risk are intertwined in every success story. That's right. People love to talk about hard work and intelligence as the sole drivers of success, but they often forget the hidden hands that shape our lives. The world is simply too complex for any single person's actions to determine their destiny entirely. Every success story has an element of randomness, and every failure has factors beyond individual control. For every Bill Gates, there's a Kent Evans, someone just as skilled, just as driven, but who faced a different roll of the dice. This is why we must respect both luck and risk equally. They shape every outcome in ways that we cannot fully understand or predict. Understanding the role of luck and risk changes the way we judge success, both our own and that of others. When we look at wealthy, powerful individuals, we should recognize that their success is not purely a reflection of their efforts. Sure, hard work does matter, but so does being in the right place at the right time. Likewise, when we see someone struggling, we must acknowledge that it's not always due to a lack of effort. If we truly understand luck and risk, we develop a sense of humility. We become less judgmental, more grateful, and more compassionate. Because in the end, nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below on what you think of the role of luck and risk in shaping success. Also, before you leave, don't forget to get subscribed to our channel to stay tuned for all the new updates. Take care.